So I did my part of the project on different types of learning styles and how to use those learning styles to make memorization easier. So we have 3 different types of learning styles. We have auditory, visual, and kinetic. So auditory and visual are the main. The kinetic is a little less common, but it's still there. So for auditory learners, they're people who learn better by hearing or speaking the information. So good ways for auditory learners to study would be to take digital recordings of your class. During class, just get a tape recorder or something and record what's going on and then listen to it later when you need to study. Read out loud or mouth the words if you're not allowed to make noise. So if you're studying in the library, just mouth the words. Auditory repetition. So if you need to memorize facts about things, auditory repetition, repeating the facts over and over again, is going to help you memorize things easier. And last but not least, teaching someone. So reciting what you have learned or telling someone about the lesson. So if you have a study group, teach each other, recite to each other on what to learn. So next we have tactile or concrete or kinetic learners, and they are hands-on people. Now it's not too common, but the people who are hands-on also go hand in hand with visual learners, which we'll get to. But so for kinetic learners, making diagrams helps a lot. So if let's say you're in math and you're trying to figure out the order of operations, making a diagram will do that. Draw pictures, and then when you're trying to recall, you'll remember the picture, and that'll help. Pretty much find ways to use your hands to help you learn. So just try and find anything for hands-on, like fractions. If you're learning fractions or subtraction, try folding paper into different fractions if you can. But in all, for kinetic learners, use your hands and try to be active with your learning. And last but not least, we have visual learners. People who learn by seeing and doing. So, good ways for visual learners to learn is by repeatedly taking notes and studying them. Notes are super important for visual learners. Draw pictures and diagrams along with that. Color coordinate your notes. So if one topic is about George Washington, make George Washington red and all the facts about George Washington in red. If the next one is about Thomas Jefferson, make Thomas Jefferson blue and write everything in blue. That way when you're trying to think about the facts, you'll see the color and it'll help bring back the information. So we also have making flashcards. Flashcards are great for studying with tests and great for study groups. Study groups are a very important thing to have in college. They're very helpful. Play games. Playing games it may sound very childish, but it works, especially for visual or kinetic learners. So a lot, like for learning the periodic table, I was doing some research, and the periodic table is like a basic thing that you have to know off the top of your head in chemistry, and you have to have it memorized. But sometimes it's hard to memorize all the chemicals. So ways that teachers have come up with games to help them memorize the periodic table is they've made crossword puzzles. They make a game where you have to make words out of the abbreviations of the chemicals. They use word searches. We have memory games, so like flashcards pretty much, and trivia games. So trivia games are like, points on the chalkboard, and you have, this team, and whoever gets the information right gets a point, and whoever wins, gets a prize. And that is actually a really good way for Visual learners and any kind of learners, also auditory because you're speaking the facts, and kinetic because you're incorporating your hands and your body to write things down. So overall, it may sound childish, but playing games to help you study for, something like a final or a midterm with your study group actually is very helpful. That's all I have. So find the way that you learn, find out what kind of learner you are if you don't already know, and use the way you learn to help you memorize things better.